got here 3 festival directors from 3 different countries, but one of whom is in a very, very unusual situation, and that is that being on the front line of a major European war for the first time in at least 30 years. And this poses, of course, an impossible situation for a festival. But Kharkiv's been rather remarkable in that it's managed not only to become a symbol of resistance, but more importantly a symbol of hope. And Kateryna, what I wanted to talk to you about was how that has come about and how you've actually become so central to the sense of Kharkiv's survival as a city, not just as a festival.
Yeah, thank you for your question. Yes, we are very close to the border, so we have very hard situation in our city last spring, and we are planning our festival as usual for all year, and then this big innovation was started, and it was really shocked. But we decided to do our symbolic opening in metro station because thousands of people live in underground in that time in Kharkiv because it was everyday bombing, and it was not an easy decision because it was still dangerous to ask musicians to come outside. But we decided to do it, and in that time we saw that it's really important for our people, and it's really a sign of resistance, of hope, and it's like a hope for a little part of usual life that people can have in this hard situation. So now we decided to do like our festival, even if it's not the same as it was a few years ago, because our festival was international music festival. We try to invite some interesting musicians from Europe to our city. Now it's impossible. But still, we see that it is important for our citizens to have a little part of their usual life.
And have you found that citizens have appreciated that? Has music become more important to them in time of war?
Yes, it really is, because it's like when you have this pause after coronavirus and then you go to the offline concert, but worse. And yes, for people, they want to have such offline meetings to see each other, to feel this atmosphere, but still it's a symbol, it's a sign of resistance, of hope, and that our city will be alive and everything will be like it was before, and maybe better.
Have you found that when you've been programming the music, you've been programming a different sort of music? Have you been reaching for deeper pieces rather than more entertaining pieces? Are you feeling that people want something that they can really get their minds into as well as their hearts? In other words, less entertainment and more actually about the depth of what you're producing?
Before this big innovation, we have different type of concert projects. So it was some entertainment, it was some educational, some concert program. But now it was very like we change our values this year because I think you understand why. And now we have more Ukrainian music in our program. For understandable reason, we have more local musicians. And we try to talk with our audience about some new senses, because maybe culture managers can be a little bit faster about this changes, and we try to bring it to our audience.
And how are children reacting to the music?
Children, we have some. We can't do concert as it was before, so even our opening was like for 250 listeners, and we have sold out like in few days. And it was not so many children in our concert hall, but still it's important for all of our audience, and we planning do some project for children, but our festival are running now, so it will be a little bit later.
But I know that when you were performing in the metro stations, there were lots of children watching, and I wondered how they had reacted to the music in their time of stress.
Yes, it was a different reaction. Somebody was even joyful. Somebody still was shocked and in some shell. So it depends.
Thomas, the Usedom Festival actually takes place on an island which in a way symbolises the last set of wars in Europe in the middle of the 20th century. And that your island used to be a place where they built rockets to attack other countries. And there you are on an island which is half Polish and half German. And I wondered how you as a festival, first of all, had reacted with those in Ukraine, and secondly, how you felt that sense of symbolism.
Yes, so we tried to change this place in Peenemünde. You mentioned it, that was a former Nazi factory for V2 weapons. And we try to change this place from a place of war to a place of culture and for understanding and freedom and peace. So we worked many years on this method. Since 2002 we started with War Requiem from Benjamin Britten under conducting under the tutelage of Maestro Rostropovich. So this was of course a shock for us, working so many years for peace and also sending this message of peace from Peenemünde, and then to see this, that everything changed, and also that nobody could see that this could be happen again in Europe. And so of course we dedicated also to the Ukrainian victims, the concerts, for example, in Peenemünde. And also we have concerts on the Polish side. So that's what we also create as a cooperation also with the Kharkiv Festival, to invite the festival to our place to show the world that's the culture of Ukrainian, and also that we have to be show solidarity to them and to give them a possibility, a platform.
One thing that you both have got is proximity to borders.
Right.
And these are political borders which actually have no basis in historical fact, in the sense that people have moved across them for centuries and centuries and centuries. Are you able, with the arts, to abolish those borders? I know you started the Baltic Sea Philharmonic, for example, to do exactly that, to think of the sea, the Baltic as a lake rather than as a divide.
Yeah, that's right. So that's what we also try with all the countries around the Baltic Sea. Of course, now it's impossible to work with Russia, of course, but I think on this island, I saw also at the beginning there was really a border, so you can't go by cars to the other part, or this changed only 10 years ago, that you can cross the border by car and you have an exchange, easier exchange, and also the schools learn on the German side Polish, and on the Polish side German, and so on. So this is this is very important to come together, and also we try with our concerts to bring all the audience together on one place, even if it's on the Polish side or on the German side. So this is of course a long-term project, but of course the goal must be to learn from each other and to fight for freedom and show solidarity to all countries in the world who need that.
So many good things come out of conflict, but one of the good things that came out of conflict was Belgium, as it used from Klarafestival. You have this extraordinary history in many ways, and Belgium itself was founded as a buffer state between two warring sides of France and Germany in 1829. And you've got that fascinating history there. And now Brussels represents the unification of the continental Europe at the same time. Mm-hmm. Do you, when you're programming Clara in these remarkable old halls, do you have that sense of responsibility too for what is for helping out Kharkiv and indeed any other festivals finding themselves in that position?
Oh yes, of course. Our festival in 2022 started directly after the outbreak of the Ukrainian war. And we hashtagged our festival directly, Festivals Against War, because we could not imagine that this was happening and people suffering so much. People who were ordinary people living in their homes, and our colleagues from festivals suffer so much by the act of an aggressor. For us, we have the habit to stand clear about this. When we had Brussels as also the sicarios of the attack on the airport, the Brussels airport, and the metro station. So we are very aware of these sufferings. So we feel as a festival that we need to take a stand about that. So this meant that just a few days before we entered in the festival program and talked to different artists that we invited to take a stand also, and to present also some works, added some works also to the concert program. And yes, this was happening very rapidly, and we opened the festival with an Ukrainian piece, with an Ukrainian composition, and that was important for us. We opened the festival by taking a stand also on stage about this. And I'm so happy that together with Thomas and together with Kateryna, just as colleagues would work together in a way of co-realization, co-production, that we'll continue these talks about what really matters, the content of things, and to show also to the world that we do not let us go under because this is happening now, that we still continue this conversation. I think it's hugely important that we have this project now together.
In a way, it's a tragedy for Europe that we've failed to move on from 1914, when Elgar and Vaughan Williams were writing pieces in aid of Belgian war charities. Mm-hmm. And here we are 110 years later, effectively, in much the same position with Ukraine. And Ukraine, is somewhere which has such enormous potential as a festival place, extraordinary people with extraordinary history and wonderful cities, and yet here you are effectively exiled as a result of it. And Kateryna, tell me something about, let's look forward a bit. So if you were planning the festival in normal times now, saying for 2024, and assuming that Russia had stopped being so unpleasant, what would you be planning? What would you be wanting to put on?
It's not an easy question because from the beginning of war, I have some ideas about when war can end, and now I have no idea. So we just, even this festival that we are running on now, it's like improvisation. And I think that even it's hard to think about how it could be, because I don't see this now, this picture on my head. But I want to say a few words about our cooperation, something important for me, because I want to reply what Joost said. For me, it's something more than just another concert of Ukrainian music in Europe. For me, it's about sustainability, about integration, about mentorship, and about friendship. And I really hope that this cooperation will be not 1 year or a few years. I really want to see many years and decades of cooperation, of friendship, and I think it will be like this. And it's important to have a friend that help you, not just it's important to have a place to say what you want, but it's not all that we Ukrainians should do now, because we have a lot of work about decolonization, our culture, and we can't do it for ourselves. We need a partner, and I really hope that Europe will help us with it.
Well, I just think that whatever you're all doing proves that the greatest music and the greatest friendship is born in hard times.
Mm.